Can you imagine a world where you never have to vote again? This is a promise Donald Trump made before the election. The context of this statement, as puzzling as it may seem, is deeply rooted in the political landscape leading to the elections. With former President Donald Trump's characteristically bold and often controversial rhetoric, this statement had political enthusiasts and analysts raising their eyebrows. The promise, or perhaps more fittingly, the proposition, came as Trump outlined his plans for his potential second term in office. He even went as far as referring to himself as a dictator on day one, should he be re-elected. But what does this mean for the democratic principles that underpin the United States? The cornerstone of democracy is the power of the people, expressed through their right to vote. The idea of not having to vote again seems to suggest a departure from these principles. Yet, we must consider the potential implications of such a promise. If taken literally, it could imply an indefinite term in office, a hallmark of dictatorial rule. If viewed metaphorically, it could suggest a radical shift in policy, one so transformative that future elections would become unnecessary. However, it's also possible that Trump's statement was merely a controversial political tactic, a dramatic way to underline his confidence in his leadership and the changes he planned to bring about. Does this statement suggest a move towards dictatorship, or is it just a controversial political tactic? As we delve deeper into the nuances of this puzzling promise, let's remember that the answers may not be as straightforward as they seem. Trump claimed he would rule like a dictator on his first day if re-elected. This comment sparked a wave of reactions. The world watched with bated breath as the former president outlined his plans for day one, plans that were anything but conventional. Let's delve into these controversial promises. First on the docket was a vow to fire the special counsel who indicted him. The implications of this are profound. It's not just about the dismissal, but the precedent it sets. A president firing the person investigating him, it's an action that could potentially undermine the very foundations of our justice system. Then there was the promise to free some convicted 6 rioters. This too was a departure from the norm. Pardoning individuals involved in a significant security breach of the nation's capital is not something we often see. The question arises, what message does this send about accountability? Trump also pledged to end Green New Deal initiatives and proposed mass deportations of migrants living in the US without legal permission. The environmental and humanitarian implications of these actions are significant. It's a stark shift from efforts to combat climate change and uphold human rights, a shift that could have far-reaching consequences. And let's not forget about his plans to grant green cards to college graduates and expand H-1B work visas for tech workers. While these proposals may seem beneficial on the surface, the devil is often in the details. How would these changes impact the American workforce, particularly in terms of competition and wage levels? In a nutshell, Trump's Day One plans were a break from the norm, a deviation from traditional presidential conduct that left many observers both intrigued and concerned. These actions, if carried out, could reshape America's political landscape. But what might that landscape look like? Trump's policy agenda for his potential second term remains unpredictable and inconsistent. Indeed, the former president's rhetoric is an amalgam of conflicting visions and plans, making it a challenge to discern a clear path forward. Let's take a closer look at his Supreme Court nominees, an area where inconsistency becomes glaringly apparent. One day, Trump hints at packing the court with conservative justices to secure his agenda. The next, he is coy, avoiding any definitive stance on the matter. This erratic approach leaves one to wonder, what is his true intention, and what could this mean for the balance of power in our highest court? Then, there's the economy, where Trump's plans are marked by a similar lack of clarity. He's spoken about tax cuts, deregulation, and a return to fossil fuels. But these promises seem to sit uncomfortably alongside his pledges to tackle income inequality and create jobs. His economic vision is a patchwork quilt of contrasting ideas, leaving us uncertain about the future of our economy under a second Trump term. Let's not forget trade. Trump's first term was punctuated by a tumultuous trade war with China, but his future plans are anything but clear. Will he continue his aggressive stance, risking further economic fallout? Or will he pivot, seeking to mend ties and stabilize global markets? Again, his inconsistency leaves us guessing. And what of his immigration policies? His intentions range from shutting down the border with Mexico to expanding work visa programs for tech workers to granting permanent residency to non-citizen graduates. These contradictory plans leave us with more questions than answers. With so many variables, it's hard to predict how Trump's second term might unfold, but certain trends offer some clues. The erratic nature of Trump's proposed policies could lead to a tumultuous and uncertain period for America. Yet, despite the inconsistency, one thing is clear. We must prepare ourselves for the unexpected. The role of key figures in Trump's potential new administration is another piece of the puzzle. As we delve deeper into this political conundrum, we can't ignore the potential influence of formidable personalities like Elon Musk and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Elon Musk, the billionaire innovator, has been known for his controversial views on climate change and renewable energy. His role in a Trump administration could significantly influence policy decisions, particularly those related to the environment and technological advancement. On one hand, Musk's entrepreneurial spirit and innovative thinking could inject new life into the country's tech sector. On the other, his skepticism towards renewable energy might clash with the world's urgent need to combat climate change. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a prominent environmental advocate and anti-vaccine activist, is another figure to watch. His potential role in Trump's administration is intriguing, given his staunch opposition to vaccine mandates and his advocacy for cleaner, greener policies. Kennedy's influence could lead to an administration that is more resistant to widespread vaccination efforts and more receptive to environmental activism. Yet, it remains to be seen how these potentially contradictory stances could coexist within a single administration. These two are but examples of the many influential figures that may play a part in Trump's administration. Each individual brings their own ideologies, priorities, and vision for the country. The challenge lies in how these differing perspectives can be harmonized to create a coherent policy direction. These key figures could play a crucial role in shaping Trump's second term, but to what end? The potential long-term implications of Trump's second term are a matter of intense debate. As we delve into the potential long-term effects of Trump's policies, we find ourselves in uncharted waters. His self-proclaimed dictatorship style of governance could lead to a marked shift in America's democratic processes. If he were to follow through on his day one promises, we could see dramatic changes in our approach to immigration, the environment, and even criminal justice, with all the unpredictability that comes with such a shift. Furthermore, Trump's proposed actions could have a profound impact on the democratic norms we hold dear. His intention to fire special counsel, his plans to free convicted rioters, and his self-identification as a dictator all suggest a departure from our traditional checks and balances. This could potentially lead to a more autocratic style of governance, with fewer safeguards to protect against misuse of power. However, it's important to remember that political rhetoric can often be just that, rhetoric. While Trump's statements are undoubtedly concerning, they must be viewed in the context of his entire political career. His previous term was marked by controversy, yet it also saw significant policy achievements. It's possible his dictator comments are more about stirring up support and less about an actual shift towards autocracy. But let's not overlook the potential impact on the American people. If Trump were to implement his proposed policies, it could lead to a more divided society. His stance on immigration and his intentions towards the Green New Deal could deepen the existing fault lines in American society, leading to further polarization. Whether Trump's second term would mark a shift towards dictatorship or just a deviation from the norm, one thing is clear: the political landscape in America is set for some significant changes.